What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot, brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. If you're doing any sort of DFS or sports betting this NFL season, make sure you're doing it there. The guys nodding on screen right now, if you're watching on YouTube, are my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash, and my name is Blaiden Kirk. And today we're recapping, what is this, week 12? Week 11 of the NFL season? It's week 11. It's flying by, boys. It's flying by. We're well over halfway through. We'll talk about the guys battling it out for the MVP. Drake May had a great game on Thursday night. Matthew Stafford went off. Sam Darnold put up an absolute stinker in what we thought was going to be game of the year. And it kind of ended up being that way. There was some really big moments, but very stark difference in the quarterback play. But before we get into those games and the rest of them, Matthew Sponhour, Theo Ash, how you guys doing on this beautiful Sunday night?
How am I doing? I'm doing well. I had a great weekend of watching football. I watched Ty Simpson, a hate watch that was very successful.
Oh, man. You know, Theo, I've been interested in your Ty Simpson hate watch. I tuned into the fourth quarter of that game. And
then you saw it.
And I was like, I've only seen one quarter of Ty Simpson. And I'm like, I'm not a fan. That last drive when they just like kept handing it off. And then it was like a 4th and 1 needed to pick it up. And they ran like a trick play. And I'm like, the fact that they're not leaning on this quarterback at all tells me a lot. But I haven't watched any tape on him, so don't take my word for it.
Just watch the tape. Watch any of the last 4 weeks. The LSU game, the South Carolina game, and the Oklahoma game. Watch any of those games. Plus, there was a bye in there, so that counts as 4 weeks. There's no tape to watch from the bye. But I'm telling you, man, he's not accurate enough. He's not accurate enough. He's small. He's slow. He fumbles all the time. 5 straight games. So that's how my weekend started. Today was a great slate of NFL football. If you're keeping track of if college or NFL is better, I think NFL got the point this week.
Matt, do you have any comment on that?
No, it was a good week for the NFL, for sure.
It was a good week for the NFL. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm all right. Pretty standard business for me. I guess I don't have anything in particular to... Yeah, the Panthers did get a win. Shout out Bryce for throwing for like 450-something yards. Shout out to Theo for his basketball plant hanger. It's pretty cool. Where'd you get it from?
Pretty cool.
So this was the other thing I got. It's a basketball that's hollowed out, and then there's a plant in it, and I can hang it from the ceiling. So I got that, and I got that at a magazine release party. So that was my other big highlight of the week.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah. Magazine release party. What magazine? Okay. All right, well, let's talk about some football then. Let's start with Thursday night. We'll just go in order here. Patriots put a beat down on the New York Jets. I locked 2 games. This one came through for me, and the Chargers got, their teeth kicked in. So 1 for 2 here. I mean, I think you have to just continue to be impressed with the way Drake May is performing. Although the Jets were kind of keeping it. They were kind of hanging on for a little bit. It felt like they might have a chance. They were really leaning on the Justin Fields run game. Basically every chance they got. What is your main takeaway from this one, Matt?
I was really impressed with how Drake May played. I thought he had some great moments where he stepped up through pressure and made some throws. I mean, yeah, the Jets did keep it close for a little while. I mean, it was like 14-7 at half, right?
Yeah.
But that's because the Patriots missed a field goal, and they like strung together like one big long drive and whatnot. I don't know. Like, I don't take them only ending up losing by 13 as like some big moral victory. I think that's starting to really stretch it at the NFL level, quite frankly. And it's not like they had control of this game and then collapsed at any point. They just, I mean, they had
one good drive at the beginning of the game.
It reminded, honestly, I was like, this is like Notre Dame in the national title last year. Right? It was like that type of stuff where I'm like, okay, like cool. And this is a lot of the game, and I guess that's good. I think what kills me about the Patriots, Drake May is so good, but they want to be one of these teams that has this great quarterback, of course, but then like gets big, brings out these tight ends, brings out the extra whoever, and like gets heavy and runs on you, and they cannot do it like at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Their run game is atrocious. Whereas like at least like with the Bills, I get frustrated. I'm like, maybe let Allen or whoever cook a little bit more. And then they don't. It's like with the Patriots, they're just not at a place where they can pull it off. And it's not a bad way to build the team. And they're obviously awesome this year or whatnot. But they kill me with that.
Travion Henderson did have a hat trick in this one.
He did, and his touchdowns in the red zone were really impressive, but between the 20s, not so effective. He only averaged 3.3 yards per carry, and it seems like he's good for 2 big plays a game. These last 2 weeks he's really broken out, right? Like kind of won him the Buccaneers game on the 2 long runs that he had, and then obviously here he has 2 really impressive rushing touchdowns. And then outside of that, there's just a lot of stuffs with him, which given our evaluation of him out of OSU, I don't think we're surprised by that. But it is nice to have 2 huge plays a game. Like that's more than a lot of running backs can say.
Clearly lacking. Yeah,
so,
they didn't have those huge plays, and they were still getting stuffed and fumbling a bunch. So.
Yeah. His longest run was only 9 yards. So, yeah, not a crazy game, but there are moments where it's like, wow, he's really got speed. He's really got vision.
Yeah.
Got some power, too. Like, it's not not like he can never run through contact. But overall, very, very boom or bust player. And then May, I mean, you got to think that he's in the driver's seat to win MVP. We talked about Jonathan Taylor last week, Blaiden, and he was on a bye this week. Yeah. And I don't really want to get into it with him specifically. He's a running back, though, and May is a quarterback. And I know the schedule hasn't been the strongest for May, but the guy just avoids multiple points of pressure. The guy is completing over 70% of his passes. He just has that kind of physical stature where he just doesn't really care if he's under pressure. He doesn't really care if he's about to get hit. He doesn't really care if he's stepping up into a defensive tackle, champing at the bit to get him. He can slide around. And that combined with his accuracy and his arm talent, it's a problem. It's a big problem. It's everything you look for in a quarterback. He can run, he can get downhill. He just is explosive. He's an explosive threat. I never thought the Patriots would be 9-2. I thought that this roster was not ready to compete like that. Thought I liked May as a prospect, but his rookie season it wasn't great. He wasn't this efficient. I thought it would be more of that, but no, he's already here. He's already arrived, and maybe he's missing a signature moment. I mean, a good game against the Jets in prime time isn't quite like a good game against the Chiefs in prime time, right?
Yeah, I mean, he beat the Bills. I think that happening so early in the year makes it tough. But they'll play again in New England, and that'll be...
Yeah, they'll play again, and he beat them. And the Tampa game, he had multiple ridiculous throws. His completion percentage overall in that game wasn't good, and he didn't get off to the greatest start there. But I do think when you look at his high end throws there were Heisman moments, as you'd say. So I think May and Jonathan Taylor at this point, and Stafford, and we'll get into that game later. But I think that those two are really the ones who have stepped up at every opportunity to get a big win.
And I know we talk about this schedule not being that difficult, but they did play the Bills and beat them. They had a good game against the Browns defense. Obviously, the Browns are a bad team in totality, but the Browns are the number 1 defense in football by a lot of standards. And then they had a great game against Tampa, So I think
they're league average now as an offensive schedule. All right, the Bears have the easiest schedule in the league right now on offense. The Patriots are 12th hardest. So you can't really say that May has just sat here and picked apart only bad pass defenses. It's really been a, not a crazy schedule like Lamar these past couple of years. They've been number 1, and again, they're the number 3 schedule on offense this year, 3rd hardest. So it hasn't been quite to that level. I don't think he'd be the strongest MVP ever or something, but certainly is in the conversation for this year's season. I don't think any other quarterback has stood out as much as him. He's cracked.
He is cracked.
Yeah, I mean, I think their schedule as a whole, like team-wide, has been weak as hell, of course. But
I mean,
do they rank
from May's
defensive schedule ranks? If you'll give me 30 seconds to look that up. It's at
I have no idea. I mean, look, they still play some tough games. Like they go Bills, Ravens back to back, but it's Bengals, Giants, Jets, and Dolphins outside of that too. Looking forward, they just have a lot of games from teams that are in like complete tanking mode. Yeah, almost at this point.
They have the easiest defensive schedule in the league. There you go.
That's
the easiest
no
defensive schedule in the league.
So
yeah,
I mean, I really like what I see from the Patriots week in, week out, even if the schedule is easy and even if I think their roster probably isn't quite as good as the record makes it seem, and maybe they're not like running quite as well as you'd hope for how like big they want to get sometimes or whatever. But honestly, none of it matters because I think they've got the coach and the quarterback and they're ahead of schedule.
It's insane. Vrabel was just chilling on the Browns last year, just chilling as a Browns assistant. He got fired after doing a great job in Tennessee and wasn't picked up immediately. Like that maybe it's easy to say with hindsight, but that is blowing my mind right now.
I mean, people were talking about it then. They're like, it was crazy that Vrabel got fired. So I don't think it's...
They should have fired Stefanski. They should have fired Stefanski and hired Vrabel.
And promoted Vrabel.
Stefanski's not even bad, and they should have hired Vrabel.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about Shador's debut and whatnot, but...
Does anybody know how perfect timing goes? I wanted to sing it when he went in. I was like, I actually don't.
I don't know it off the top.
Do you know it?
Head.
Okay.
No.
The Trace McSorley song kept coming to mind. I'm like, no, that's
I know how that one goes.
Of course, everybody does. Like, that's the melody to perfect timing in my head. Throw it on a dime. I got perfect time. And that's what I kept coming up with. It's like, I don't think that's Shador's song.
My girlfriend and I were...
How did Shador look?
Awful.
Awful. I didn't watch a second of it.
Okay.
Well, now hold on, Blaiden.
Yes.
I'll let you talk and say whatever comments you want to make, but I want you to keep in mind that this is a guy who's had no first team reps, and also the offensive line is intentionally letting him get sacked, and Jerry Jeudy was planted many years ago when Shador was coming up in middle school football to possibly drop the ball for him at key moments in this crucial phony debut. But go ahead.
All of those things are true that you said, Matt, of course.
Absolutely.
The no first team reps thing is actually somewhat of an interesting point because it's like,
I disagree so much, honestly. It's
funny because like he was QB4 when he was drafted. And so obviously all through camp, he's going to have 0 first team reps. And then he's QB3 all throughout, like up until Flacco gets traded. And then when Gabriel is finally the starter, it's like, well, both these quarterbacks are rookies. We might as well just give all the first team reps to the guy who's actually playing. Like
the guy who's first team.
I understand wanting both guys to be prepared, and people are pissed about that. But like,
I'll be rude. This is like in the same vein as like this quarterback has switched offensive coordinators so many times, and that's the issue. And it's just like I guess
like Jalen Hurts has switched offensive coordinators a lot.
Well, that's almost exactly what I'm referencing.
But I'm saying like he's won a Super Bowl. But like people say the same thing about like Baker and
right. Where it's like how much that actually matters. Like it sounds like, yeah, probably, but how much it matters is of course completely unquantifiable. There's no way to know if it's good or bad. And like the alternative is what? Like, I guess if you hire an offensive coordinator and they're bad, you should stick with them. So you switch less. It's like, no, That's not.
Right.
It's probably better to have a good one. And like it probably overestimates the transition time. I get, how did Shedeur actually play? I didn't even see.
No, okay. I mean, he was really bad. I mean, for as bad as Gabriel was, and Gabriel was awful, Shedeur Sanders was, I would say, about equally as awful. The offensive line is bad, bottom 5 unit in football. The receivers are bad, bottom 5 unit in football. These things are true. Shedeur Sanders' first drive, he comes out, and I put this in the Stay Hot group chat. My first thought is it's going to get to 3rd and long. He's going to need to have a straight drop back, throw past
Holy
the sticks
cow.
moment, and he's not going to be able to do it. Matt, you're seeing it right now. And I'm like,
looking
Kyle
at his
Hamilton.
stat line that he had 18 dropbacks for 20 yards and a pick.
Yes, dude, it's bad. And the pick was horrible. He did have some throws once he kind of got like drive 3 or 4 or 5. And I got to the point where I'm like, okay, there's some, I see the juice to where I'm like, yeah, it's probably better having him in because he can like sort of extend plays and throw off his spot a little bit better than Gabriel can. And he had one throw in the end zone that was really nice, but Awuzie made a play to like break through the hands. But in totality, he did all of the doubling back stuff that we saw from him in college and in the preseason, and he got sacked every time he did it. And then the interception was just like, instead of doubling back, it's almost like he put on the headset and Tommy Reese was like, hey kid, maybe don't double back this time. Like stand in and make the throw. And he's like, got it, coach. And he just, as soon as the pressure came, he just ripped it and it was in another dimension and it was picked off. There were some good accuracy moments. He threw one to Fannin off his back foot that ended up being dropped.
I saw that throw.
But overall, and he threw one to Fannin over the middle that ended up being complete. Theo, you're muted. I'm sure you're spitting. But overall, it was bad.
There's some element of like not his fault if you really want to go that route with Shedeur Sanders, and if you're on,
you can go that route with every quarterback in the league.
If you're on the Shedeur Sanders like payroll, or whatever it is that like some accounts are on, or apparently, I guess I don't know. Like you can make excuses, but at the end of the day, like he's just slow. Like you can weaponize your drop back if you really need to against a blitz. You can speed up your feet, get the ball out faster. Shedeur can't do that. Like Shedeur's release is slow. He's a slow creator. He's just like visibly sluggish as a quarterback. And if you're Kyle Hamilton and Shedeur comes in the game, I mean, again, you're looking at him like he's a big. Like he's a goldfish and you're
Kyle
the
Hamilton
family
every single
cat.
Play.
And
I think once Shedeur came, I think they blitzed him every single play.
Yeah, and he got to do the Shedeur celebration. He got to he was having a field day.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch the whole game. I don't know how. I know Myles Garrett had 4 sacks, and
he did.
Shedeur came in. So
and Schlesinger went nuclear also.
Shout out.
Like the Browns defense. They were putting Lamar in the blender. They were doing everything they could. They let up a fake sneak from Andrews that went 36 yards for a touchdown. And I
saw that.
They gave up like
that
a 50-yard
play
Derrick
call.
Henry. That was a great play call. No, hard to beat that. But yeah, Sanders looked bad.
Completion percentage over expected is a fake stat. Like I don't care about it. I don't think it takes leverage into account at all.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Like you should never ever take expected completion percentage or CPOE seriously ever in your life. It's horrible.
Sure.
Shedeur Sanders' CPOE was negative 34.8%.
Oh, that's about what I would expect.
Which is meaningless.
Some of that does account
stat.
for drops.
meaningless stat, but I don't know I've ever
does account for.
I've never seen it go that low. I don't think I've ever seen it go that low.
I've never seen it go that low.
Yeah,
Look,
I don't trust those, but it's if you're way in the negative or way in the positive, it's probably bad or good.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, he's just Joe Flacco looked bad at quarterback, and everyone was like, dude, why is Shedeur Sanders not starting? Dylan Gabriel looked bad at quarterback. Everyone's like, why is Shedeur Sanders not starting? Shedeur Sanders looks bad at quarterback. Bro, it's the offensive line. It's the receivers. Fire Kevin Stefanski. Like, I just can't deal with these, like you say, Theo, Shedeur Sanders payroll. Like there's I agree that he should be starting over Gabriel. Like the way Gabriel has been playing, not good. Right? Obviously not good. Hope he's good with concussion stuff. But Sanders is also bad. That's just how it is. So
I don't know if I think we've exhausted all of our options on Browns quarterbacks takes at this point in the season.
They're all bad. They're just all bad. We should have. I vaguely remember saying that their best option might be Kenny Pickett. I'm starting to feel like I was probably right about that.
I think it's all the same. I think it makes no difference at all.
It doesn't. Dude, why did Myles Garrett stand up for this dude? Like, why did Myles Garrett want to be here? Why did he sign that contract?
They gave him $40 million.
Anyone would have done it. Anyone would have done it. He's literally like, it's him, it's Reggie White, it's Lawrence Taylor, and it's JJ Watt on the edge. It's like, you're that good, and you're just never, ever, ever gonna like ever play meaningful football in your life, bro. Like,
but he'll have so many defensive player of the years. Think about it, man.
He would anyway.
Case is gonna
he would anyway. It's not like the Browns are like scheming him into depoys. It's you'd have a better chance anywhere else. Anywhere else. You could trade him to the Jets, and he'd be more meaningful.
That can't be true.
No, it's not.
That can't be true. But let's talk about some more meaningful football. The Bills played the Buccaneers today in a game where Buffalo put up 44. Josh Allen threw 3 touchdowns. But honestly, it felt like kind of a mid-off between Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield in this one.
I think, to me, this game screamed like old Josh Allen, like 2020 Josh Allen or something, 2021 Josh Allen maybe. And it feels like over the last few years, they've tried to hide him. He's been Bruce Banner, and they've handed the ball off to James Cook a lot, and his turnovers haven't been as severe. This one, he tries a shovel pass while getting hit in his own end zone that goes the complete opposite direction where he wants it to go, and it's a pick. But he has 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. Overall,
yeah, it is.
Yeah, overall, like MVP type stat line with Keon Coleman a healthy scratch and like wide receivers you'd never heard of before, right? So
shout out Gabe Davis. They're mad he's back. They're pounding the table and they can't do anything about it. I actually think that Allen didn't have that bad of a game. The interception in the end zone was just like so bad. Tampa hit him with the blitz and he panicked and made a bad play. The other interception, I mean, it was like mesh or whatever that got really screwed up, like really bad. And it was 4th down, so he kind of just like said, screw it. It's better than not throwing it at all. It wasn't a great play either, but outside of that, I thought he played good. Early in the game, the Bucs blitzes were working, and then when they had to like mix it up a little bit, or just later in the game, I think their rush plan wasn't as great. Like on the first big touchdown to Shavers, they rushed 3. Okay, well, if you give Allen all day back there to run scramble drill, that's not going to go your way, most likely. They'd have other times where they would do like they'd line up like they were going to blitz, and then they drop like, defensive ends out into coverage or whatnot. But on one big chunk play, it was like a cornerback came and replaced a blitz, and like that's fine, but they're way out in the weeds, and it just takes a long time to set up. And more than anything, like that's a trick, right? It's like a trick play almost defensively to do something like that. Mm-hmm. And what ends up happening is if the offensive line can sort through it, then you're at a massive disadvantage where you've got like a corner who's trying to, get past an offensive lineman, and you've got to, a big guy in coverage. And later in the game, that wheel route that got hit to Cook, exactly what happened is that they dropped, I forget who it was, into coverage, like some big guy. And it's like Cook was right at him with a wheel route, and he got burned, and it was an easy touchdown. So I just felt like Tampa Bay defensively, it wasn't only going to work for so long to me. Their rushing game was very good, though. I mean, I left concerned about the Bills' rushing defense pretty severely. It felt like the Buccaneers did a good job, like mixing up what they were showing. They'd pull guys in different directions all the time. Wirfs got outside several times, and it's like that's just going to be free money because there's nobody at the second level who's going to do anything about him. And then there was other plays where they ran some jet sweeps and then faked that, and all the linebackers fell for it on one of the Sean Tucker touchdowns. So I'm pretty worried about whether or not Buffalo can handle a defense that keeps them honest, or handle a run game that keeps them honest and can show them a lot of different looks.
I mean,
and this
why
was
we sort of project them in a matchup against like the Colts. Why we see that as a very difficult matchup for them. So Sean Tucker's a beast, though.
He is cool. I mean, he's fast. That mesh route where he caught the ball and then burned the safety into the end zone, I think showed what kind of speed he had and control along the sideline. Like he's really got some juice, and he looked like Jamal Charles in this game. And this was a game where they had Terrell Bernard and they had Matt Milano. Like, how often has that happened for them the last couple of years? And they still allow this many points. It's tough to see them contending for the Super Bowl with this defense, but at the same time, like, Josh Allen is still clearly one of the most, if not the most valuable player in the league. The way that, I mean, it's a disaster that Keon Coleman is this bad, right? I mean, they traded out of the first round, so he wasn't a first round pick, but he was their first pick in that draft. And to get nothing out of him because he's missing practices or whatever, missing meetings, and everybody is, talking about like just how immature he is, pretty much. Like, and to have no separators really downfield. Tyrell Shavers, actually, maybe he's the absolute hero, but there's a lot that's concerning about the Bills, but they just have Josh Allen. That's good enough. That's good enough, and he's playing in a kind of unchained mode where it feels like, there's no timing here. There's no footwork. Who cares? It's fine because him swirling the defense and making a throw out of structure is the best offense in the league. Point blank, period. So, shout out.
And you know what? It's fine.
I say that word too much. That's good.
When the Chiefs,
I'm going to spray myself next time I say shout out.
When the Chiefs are losing to the Broncos.
Yeah, maybe the Broncos are the best team in the league.
I mean, they're the 1 seed in the AFC right now, so by every account, they might as well be. They're kind of the they're sort of like the inverse Patriots a little bit. Like all defense, and when Drake May needs to sort of step up, or not when Bo Nix needs to sort of step up in moments, they'll kind of give it to him, and he can make a couple of throws when he needs to, but mostly it's just the defense wreaking havoc.
Yes, the defense is better than it was last year. I think this Chiefs game was really important for them just because when they went up against MVP quarterbacks last season, they tended to do kind of a tough job, and for them to really shut down the Chiefs offense overall, super meaningful. It felt like the Chiefs were kind of out there without skill position players for a lot of this game. It felt like it just, there's Mahomes scrambles, there's Kareem Hunt inside zone, and he has a really high success rate and a really low explosive play rate. In fact, there's a stat I saw on Twitter. I don't know who tweeted it, but it was directed at Nate Tice. So if you go through his page, you'll find the person I'm crediting here. But they have the lowest stuff rate in the league, the Chiefs run game, and also the lowest explosive play rate. So I think Tice said that they're always hitting singles in the run game, which feels extremely accurate. And so there's that aspect of it. And then there's, Mahomes. He had one great play to Tyquan Thornton where there's a stunt that's coming at him unblocked. He doesn't care about the pressure. He throws his hip, steps into it and connects downfield. But like outside of that, just a lot of drops from Rashee Rice, like overthrows for Xavier Worthy. It's like, when are the receivers gonna step up here and be wide receivers is one thing I was wondering. But overall, without Pat Surtain, to get this kind of pressure on him, to get this kind of performance out of that group, and really like a fine game from Bo Nix, which for Bo Nix is kind of great when it's fine, I think. It's a good, they're playing complementary football, and in a league where no one is really standing out, like at this point, it's really time to take the Broncos super seriously.
Yeah. Go ahead, Matt.
Every time you want to knock the Broncos for being like a great defense and a limited offense and say, well, you can only go so far being a team like that, I start getting flashbacks, of course, to a time when they were a great defense and a really limited offense with a really bad quarterback, and they went pretty far anyway. Yeah, I think, I mean, our opinion on the Broncos probably doesn't change too wildly from this game, other than the fact that I think their defense is just unbelievable, right? And I think it does give them a chance against anybody. Do you feel worse about Kansas City's Super Bowl odds right now than you did maybe like halfway through the year? What was the point when it's like things were kind of not looking good and like the receivers hadn't come back? Where do you stand on them as a whole is the question.
I mean, there's 2 games back, not only in the division, they're more than that in the division, but in the playoff race. And to me, this game really hurt their Super Bowl chances in my eyes, because they were bad to begin the year, and then it looked like they were back. And then this game happens and all the warts start to show. And again, now I'm feeling like, I mean, what team wins the Super Bowl with a bad pass rush? What team wins the Super Bowl with bad receivers? Like, they've lost to the Bills. They've lost to the like we've always seen the Chiefs with a bye. We've always seen the Chiefs as division winners. Them going on the road now, and it's almost a guarantee that they have to go on the road now. I really, this one changed things for me. Like, the edge presence here, and I know the Broncos are a good offensive line, but the edge presence was just so bad on a lot of the Broncos' big plays. Like that, the 3rd and 16 conversion to Cortland Sutton, they rushed 3. Maybe that's your first problem, and you want to send a few more. But okay, you rush 3. It's not a contained rush from Karlaftis, and I can't quite remember who the other defensive end was on this particular rep. Maybe it was Dana. Or number 90, maybe it was Omenahu, but they just fly past Bo Nix, whose greatest fear is not being able to step up in the pocket or run up in the pocket, right?
Right.
So like, that's just bad defense, right? Bad pass rush plan on this particular quarterback. They allow him to get vertical, to kind of escape out through that B gap and find Cortland Sutton. It's like, man, if it's not Chris Jones getting pressure, then who's it going to be? If it's not Trent McDuffie shutting somebody down, who's it going to be? I mean, they could not stop Troy Franklin releasing off the line of scrimmage and press at all in this game. He just cooked every release. And on the corner route, he got a really good release. On the big play down the sideline, the go route, they tried 2-handed jamming him, and he just cooked immediately. Like, okay, so the secondary is an issue. The defensive line's an issue. The receivers are an issue. Rashee Rice had some really bad drops. Mahomes, like, was an issue in this game, honestly. Like, the pick that he threw was horrible. He took a really bad sack on 3rd down, and no one was open. But like, Mahomes' standard is so high where it's like, I expect him to just, if it's him on a DB 1-on-1, I expect him to break that tackle. That didn't happen. So like, if it's a worse version of Mahomes and Kelsey and the defense and the receiving core and everything, it's like, man, and they're a wild card team instead of division winners in a weak AFC West. When it's not a weak AFC West, I feel worse. I thought this game was like, man, they're actually not going to win the Super Bowl this year. Like they're not going to win the AFC this year. Like this is the year when it ends.
Well, I mean, I didn't realize that they're 0-5 in one-score games. All their losses are one score. And that's all the one-score games that they've played. So there's some level of that. I mean, I do think we start to get to a point even beyond where they are on the field right now, have just like, dude, the standings are the standings, and there's not that much more time left in the season to where you can be out of it and not at least have a little bit concern, especially when you play the Colts next game, right? So you could easily move to 5 and 6. And like, yeah, the gap between being the 10 seed and in the playoffs actually is like a game or a game and a half, I'd bet. Yeah, they're 2 games back, but it's like the Chargers or whatever. They're a game back from Jacksonville. But, you know, Baltimore is also 5 and 5, kind of trying to go through this same path. And the Texans are 5 and 5, and they're a good team too that's, you know, going to be trying to make a run for it. And at some point, you got to start winning those one-score games and actually bringing them in. So I feel worse because I think the threat of them like screwing up in Indianapolis and then like having to really, really like worry about what the other teams ahead of them are starting to do, getting into that mode, is very real. It's real for it's felt like it could be real for the first time this season. And I think they'll play better games than they did against Denver's defense. I think it's easy to just look at the mistakes they make or the opportunities they can't hit and say, well, that's just who they are as an offense. You're always going to look like that against a unit like the Broncos have. But if you want to win the Super Bowl, you're going to have to go through units like that.
Yeah, and going back to the Bills game a few weeks ago, Josh Allen was 23 of 26.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is the defense there? Is the offense there? Is the special teams there with Butker and some of his struggles
he
this
missed
year?
Twice today, yeah.
Like, what? They're not playing complementary football. And to win the Super Bowl, all 3 units have to be there. And right now, it feels like they're 0 for 3. Xavier Worthy, worst player ever. All right, I drafted you in fantasy. You suck. Let me put on my gambling
player right now. Xavier
Let me
Worthy
put on my gambling hat and say, Xavier Worthy, you are the worst player ever, and you are selling me personally.
Theo, would you rather have Xavier Worthy or Keon Coleman?
I'd rather have Keon Coleman because he hasn't caused me this much personal strife. I would be a contender. I could have been a contender in the 32-person league if I didn't stack Mahomes and Xavier Worthy. Not because of Mahomes, but only because of Xavier Worthy.
Maybe you should have drafted Jonathan Taylor. That was your first.
I should have.
You didn't have the opportunity to.
But I should have anyway. I should have drafted Troy Franklin. I don't know. But
yeah.
I think this game, yeah, it definitely did a number on my confidence in the Chiefs, and it did a number on my confidence in the Broncos. Bo Nix was playing at a level against the Raiders where I'm like, this guy's starting job is hanging by a thread. Like, you just can't be this uncomfortable in a tight pocket and be an NFL starter, right? Like, that is how you get benched. We went from that 1 week to now I'm like, well, the Broncos winning the Super Bowl, it would have to be ugly. It would have to be unsatisfying, I feel like, in a certain way. But that's kind of what the season is trending towards, is kind of this ugly and unsatisfying Super Bowl
Someone's got to be real.
Someone's got to be real. So, like,
yeah.
And again, Matt, you're exactly right. Is like, well, they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning when he had 9 touchdowns and 17 picks in the regular season. And they turned to Brock Osweiler, who was just as bad.
That year is genuinely the worst quarterback I've ever watched in the NFL. Like, go and just start in the playoffs or whatever.
And like maybe it's the modern NFL now. You can't play that way and win the Super Bowl now. Like, why not? Is it the modern NFL?
Well, no, it has nothing to do with like the modern NFL of it. Like the offense sucked because Peyton was awful. They didn't like get away with it on some level. It's just their defense was so good that they could go 3 and out like 9 times in a row or whatever the hell it was, and it makes no difference. And you could be down 6 points in the fourth quarter.
I guess my point is like, could that happen today because it's the modern NFL today and it wasn't 10 years ago? I think it could look at the fucking league right now.
Of course, this Broncos defense probably isn't as great as the 2015 one, but I will say, Bo Nix, I believe in you at least to the level that you are better than Peyton Manning in his final season.
In 2015, he's better than 2015 Peyton Manning.
I would agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know if there's teams that are that complete where you look at and you say, well, a team that is all defense and they're the best defense in the league couldn't win a Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, like here's the issue is that, you know, I feel like in a reality where the Broncos get into the playoffs, and let's say they stay the 1 seed or whatever, and they get into the playoffs and then they lose like their first game of the divisional round, and let's say like Bo Nix has a mid game or whatever, and like he's kind of limiting the offense or blah blah blah. Yeah. Everyone will be like, "Oh, see, yeah, you should have known, right?" Like, of course they weren't going to go on a run because the defense was great. Like, of course, Nix was just, it's like fine. But then I start looking at all the other teams. It's like there's like literally every team I feel like that would be said about if they got bounced immediately. The Patriots, well, you should have known. Their schedule was so weak. The Colts, I think people mostly believe in the Colts, but if Daniel Jones immediately becomes a duck at the wrong time, it'll be like, there's no way you fell for that after 9 years of NFL service of him being a turtle. The Pittsburgh Steelers, complete baloney. Bills, I guess, are real. Chargers, you should have known their offensive line was their offensive line. Jaguars, same thing with T-Law, or just them as a team in general being kind of finicky. There's a couple of big-time teams that are being left out, but like, I don't know. It's like every team, at least in the AFC, almost all of them feel like incredibly flawed, or like a team that you would have maybe say like there's something fundamental about them that makes it tough to see them going on a playoff run, even though they're maybe having a good regular season record right now. But someone's gotta.
Someone has to. Someone has to win the Super Bowl. Those are the laws.
Someone's got to. Also, one more point about the Chiefs. They feel very different than every other team in the league right now when you watch them on offense because they never go under center. They're in shotgun all the time, and it feels like there's a lot on Mahomes' plate. But like I'll see them in shotgun and 13 personnel. That was Kelsey's touchdown. So maybe that's a great idea. But to have no downhill presence at all, to have exclusively like bad run looks at the mesh point where the running back, which is Kareem Hunt, has to start from basically a standing still type of position instead of the running start that under center gives you.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a flaw. I just want to throw that out there. It feels like it feels like that would be awesome if Mahomes was if Mahomes and the weapons were a completely different tier than every other quarterback weapons collection in the league.
Yeah.
That might be a cheat code to be in shotgun all the time. But that's not how it feels at all right now. So to rely so much on a receiving core that is just super inconsistent, and a quarterback that was inconsistent today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know.
They will play better games than they did against this Broncos defense. This I know for sure. Things will get better there, but you've now set yourself in a position where it's like the Colts, at least on some level, are very legit. So we can have questions about whether or not Daniel Jones may decide to fumble 4 times in a given game, but they're very legit in a lot of meaningful ways. You have to go win that game. It would be crushing to have a losing record after 11 games played when you're not the only team that should be doing better, like fighting to get up there. You might not even be the number one like team of that archetype. The Ravens might pass you up. And if I remember correctly, the Ravens schedule is like a little favorable down the stretch.
So
yeah, I mean, Kansas City plays Colts, Cowboys, Texans, Chargers, Titans, Broncos. They have to play the Broncos again. But the Broncos, I mean, there's a chance they could have the 1 seed clinched up depending on how things
I guess
sort of shape up. And
Okay.
meanwhile, Ravens go Jets, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Packers, Steelers. So it's like they play the Bengals and Steelers twice.
The Steelers are. That's not a gimme game.
It's AFC North football. It's always going to be
the Steelers are. The Steelers are a solid team. That's by no means like something you look at the schedule and say that's a gimme in the sense that it's like, okay, the Jets are like, God bless them.
Yeah, sure.
The Steelers are winning their division and they're sandwiched between the Cowboys and Jaguars in Super Bowl odds.
The Cowboys?
Yes.
Are the Cowboys higher or lower?
The Cowboys are a little bit lower, but the Steelers the Steelers are plus 10,000 and the Cowboys are plus 15,000. Okay. So it's a bit of a gap there, but it goes Steelers and then Cowboys and then Panthers. That's a line.
That'd be awesome.
We have to talk about this is going to be a great segue into the Panthers game, but before we do that, I of course have to talk about how every fan base has that spot back home. Maybe it's a diner where you watched your team draft your star QB. Maybe it's the bakery that fuels every tailgate. Maybe it's the sports bar where you've cried once, twice, 3 times, once from joy, once from pain. Who knows? Those places, they're the neighborhood. They were the community rallies after big wins or vents after blown leads. And when we support them, the whole area thrives because money spent locally stays local. Square powers millions of those neighborhood businesses, the places that feel like family. So go support yours and then visit square.com/go/stay hot to learn more. Square. See you in the neighborhood, and we'll see you in the playoffs. Carolina Panthers, they're 6-5, Matt.
They are 6-5. They are a half game out of this division. If they had not lost to the New Orleans Saints, they would be leading this division.
It's not good, man.
I don't know what to make of them, if I'm being real with you. I mean, my takeaway from this game was a little bit more about like the Falcons have made some really big blunders, haven't they? Dude, we'll get to the Panthers. Obviously, we're talking about my guys, but
yeah,
dude, they're 3-7, man, and they don't own their pick. It's a disaster, man. And who
does?
The Rams, which, I mean, we'll get to them too. Are they what are they in betting odds to win the Super Bowl right now? If you told me one, it wouldn't shock me.
And that's it. They're behind the Eagles and then they're second.
And the Eagles, I'm sure. Yeah. I don't think that's crazy at all right now. And what kills me about the Falcons is that the last 2 off seasons, they have probably made, I don't know if it's fair to say the dumbest decisions. Like maybe I'm forgetting something, but like the worst process decisions have come out of Atlanta the last 2 off seasons in a row. Doubling up with Kirk Cousins and Penix, it's just like
insanity.
You're not like giving yourself a way to win big there, right? And then trading a first round pick with like that could be anything. Like you could not be very good next year on like a trade that's objectively bad value to move up for somebody. That's not what good, smart teams do. And it just feels like the only reason they made that move is because like this was kind of a make or break year for them. And the downside of, well, what if we're really bad and we don't own our pick, maybe doesn't matter that much to whoever is calling the shots there or whatnot. I mean, if they're playing with Cousins going forward, who knows how good they're going to be? Who knows how high that pick could get?
I know how good they're going to be.
Tell us, Theo.
How good will they be?
They're going to be bad.
Probably going to be pretty dang bad. And it's a shame because they have some great players. Like Drake London is awesome. Bijan is amazing. And it's just not enough because they've just screwed up pretty poorly. I will say, I think defensively, this was a disaster game for them. I mean, Bryce put up 450 yards. I thought he played a pretty good game. He had some moments where he did a good job throwing off platform. I really appreciate Bryce being able to throw, like reset himself and make a throw when you watch other very highly paid quarterbacks, like, I don't know, we're watching golf tonight or whatever, like really, really struggle to do that at all. Bryce has that within him. There's still some moments where he gets physically overwhelmed when trying to create. And I do think like a lot of the stuff he was able to throw was like busted coverage or just wide open zones, like very soft zones. But on the whole, like, yeah, the Panthers went into a game against a division at a division rival. They couldn't run the ball at all. The offensive line couldn't get anything going for them, and they still came out with a win in overtime. I thought it was gutsy. And I don't know. McMillan is a star, dude. He's amazing.
Ted's the GOAT.
I didn't watch this one. But every time Bryce is just tough because it's I just get convinced that he's bad, right? Like the Packers game, the balls were tumbling end over end. Like I was like, okay, this guy can't throw a spiral in the wind. He's terrible.
And then he plays.
He's going to get benched again. And then he throws 448 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Probably the best stat line of the season against a Falcons defense that like has been regressing recently, but still is not like the Bengals overall this season or anything like that. But
yeah,
maybe they really are.
I mean, this was a rough game from the Falcons defense down the stretch. I don't know. The thing with Bryce is that he always seems to buck expectations no matter what's happening. So he's played this great game now, and maybe he'll play another good one. And then the second that you're like, wait a sec, like maybe it'll always be a little limited, but we can work with this. The moment that you let yourself think that you are getting 78 yards.
He's the Steelers of quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's something. It's that, and then he'll have 2 games in a row like that, and then I'll start to see like tweets from the Panthers fans who are like ride or die with Bryce, and they'll be like, "Look, man, I'm starting to question." And then the moment they say that, then Bryce has been going on for like, I mean, since last year, since he was so bad he got benched in 2 games, and then came back and was pretty good, and now has been going back and forth several times this year already. I think there is a level of needing to be more aggressive from Bryce that you saw today. I'm hoping that it can keep up against defenses that maybe play a little bit tougher. But yeah, we'll see. I was happy with it. 6-5 is big.
It is big. Theo, you said Bryce Young having maybe the best stat line of the season. I don't know if this is a better stat line. Actually, I know it's not, but I think it's a funnier stat line. Jacoby Brissett today went 47 for 57, which is set an NFL record for most completed passes in a game, 452 yards, and they lost by 20.
I mean, I won't lie. Didn't tune in the Niners Cardinals
but I just thought that was hilarious.
That'll be
so the 400-yard performances this year are Bryce, Brissett, Russell Wilson, Joe Flacco.
That's awesome.
And Justin Herbert. 5 awful quarterback.
How do you have 450 yards and put up 22 points? Where are you going?
I don't know. I don't know.
Shout out to Michael Wilson for the 185-yard game.
Which also is the most yards a receiver has had this season.
Is it really?
Yes.
This is going to be a good one to watch then. Do you want to move to a game, however, that I'm assuming we all tuned into Seahawks versus Rams?
Oh baby, did I. Sam Darnold, 4 interceptions.
These journeyman quarterbacks just have pumpkin in their DNA. They just do. You can't.
Yeah.
It's the monkey fist that sure you can sign one of these guys to a very friendly contract and feel pretty good about that because they play well, but like the great trade-off is that they just are going to be bad in the biggest moments, it feels like.
It might not even be in the biggest moments, but there are going to be moments where they are bad. And if they're really good for 15 regular season games, well, then you know when those moments are coming. Unfortunately.
Right. It's my takeaway almost is like it's pretty shocking they were able to be as close as they were, throwing 4 interceptions and kicking 4 like really terrible field goals in this. It felt like when the field condensed, the zones got tighter, and Darnold just didn't have it in him to throw anything into traffic with accuracy and touch. And it didn't feel like they got very creative in those short yardage situations on the goal line, which I think when it comes to offensive play calling is kind of like the thing, right? That's the difficult part, if there is any one in particular. And then, of course, on some level, because we talked about it on the Wednesday episode or the Thursday episode, Darnold got pressured and he threw some bad balls. He had the one where he was getting blitzed, free rusher, threw it up and to the outside, and it was an easy one. And then there was another one where he got pressured and kind of like jumped up and tried to make something happen on like some Josh Allen type stuff when he's not that guy. And, someone was able to come over and swoop it. But there's also some ones where it's just like he misfires or the coverage is just tight and he couldn't fit it in there.
Yeah, I thought the first one was just bad pocket presence from him. Like he was totally fading away. There was pressure. There was a guard or a center really getting pushed back into his lap, which it is pressure, but you don't see that flash of color. He was still covered up by the lineman. So I thought Darnold could escape to his left. He could escape to his right. You don't need to make a late contested throw over the middle in that situation. You can keep the play alive if you're a really great creator, but he didn't. That one where he did a good job stepping up through a crease in the pocket, and that's cool. The sack isn't as detrimental as it otherwise would have been, but you can't rise up and throw in that situation. There's 2 more. One was the stunt where Fisk was pressuring him because Bradford really messed up the exchange. That one I thought was the most understandable. That it was to Kobe Durant, I think, on the sideline, just because he was under so much pressure. And then he had the bender to Arroyo, which Olsen was talking about how Arroyo needed to bend more there and cross the safety's face. I don't really think so. I think Arroyo was bending, and the reason he couldn't cross the safety's face is because the safety was jumping the route. That one, to me, the check down is open. That was always going to be bracketed high and low by the safety and the nickel. I think maybe it was the linebacker, but that was a bad, like that. Olsen painted that like as a route running error. I really don't think that it was. I think that was a really over aggressive decision when the check down was open. So one of them, I'd say maybe it was like mostly on the pressure, but even there, you probably just take a sack. It was 4 pretty bad picks from Darnold today. Nothing bouncing off anybody's hands. Nothing on a Hail Mary where the pick, like, okay, well, the pick looks bad. No arm punts, just straight up pure bad pick concentrate from Darnold today.
Annual seeing ghost game. It's Darnold.
Sadly. And I thought maybe he was beyond it, because I was like, really, could you even think about like the pocket presence being bad this year? Like, no. Like, could you?
No, it was like, and like, was he that bad under pressure? It's like, no, he's better.
No, and I talked about going into the game, like how little pressure the Seahawks have allowed recently. It's like this whole Darnold behind the Seahawks offensive line being a disaster thing doesn't sound too bad, but now he has more more turnovers than Geno Smith this year, guys. He beat Geno.
Does he really?
He really does. He really does.
Damn.
That's so funny. Wow. But yeah, the same thing happened with Daniel Jones, right? Right. We were saying like, whoa, he was doing great under pressure, and then he fumbled like 5 times in a game.
He did. And I think really the difference this year is, and I don't know if they kept Geno, I don't know if he would have gone on to play. I just don't think I think he's lost a step. I think he's a little bit more labored releasing the ball. I think he's a little bit slower. I don't think his arm is quite as good as it was even last year. So it was probably still a good idea to dump him anyway.
Yeah.
But him being in a system that it knows how to incorporate play action. That's really the secret sauce to this offensive success this year, maybe more than Darnold. And I think that is one thing we learned from this game. And I think when the Seahawks get down early and Darnold has to press, like, yeah, I don't trust that. I don't trust that. And they did a good job. I trust the defense. I still think the Seahawks are in the thick of the Super, because same thing we talked about with the Broncos, where it's like, man, if this defense is going to be this good, and man, they really were good in this game. But if the defense is going to be this good, I think they're still in the race. But yeah, definitely the seeing ghost game is the biggest narrative here.
Yeah, I mean, the number of drives where the Seahawks just immediately shut it down. I mean, there's so many 3-and-out, 4-and-out drives from the Rams in this one.
The punch out by Kobe Bryant, he came down from center field on Puka Nacua running that out. That was as textbook of a Falcon punch as you will see. That was beautiful work. They stuffed them so many times on like short or and goal situations, and then it like the dam broke on fourth early in the game. But like overall, you're still like, man, you got to earn every single yard right against these guys.
Yeah. It was Darnold threw 4 picks and they lost on a missed field goal with 1 second left. It was a long one. It was like 61, 62 yards.
Yeah, but 61 is the new 51.
That's what they're saying. But yeah, I mean, they had a chance to win it, even despite an awful game from Darnold here. So you got to give a lot of credit to their defense.
You do.
My question is how I've seen Stafford is now the betting favorite to win MVP. I don't feel like he played like the betting favorite to be the MVP in this one. I know he's like 22 touchdowns, no picks in the last 7 games I'm reading. I feel like I would take May and I would take Jonathan Taylor over him right now.
I'm kind of with you here. I think Stafford is still a really crafty quarterback, someone who still has tons of arm talent and all the look-off ability and ability to, manipulate defenses. But he's just really old at this point. And I feel like versus pressure, I'm taking May. I'm taking a couple other quarterbacks as well. And I was a little bit worried going into this game about how we would perform against the Seahawks pass rush. And I wasn't super impressed with the result. Like, he booted out into a Uchenna Nwosu pressure on 4th and 1 early in the game. We saw Caleb Williams do this in the Vikings game. Like, even though I'm booting into pressure, I can contort myself to get it to the flat. Stafford's, it was tipped. He had to throw to Devontae Adams over the middle that was way behind him. Adams almost made an incredible catch. I don't know. When he's been blitzed this year, his time to throw is one of the fastest in the league. His depth of target is one of the lowest in the league. I feel like pressuring him, he's more limited than ever before, if you can get that pressure. But they might just throw a screen to Nacua. They might just throw it up to Adams, and maybe he makes the spectacular catch next time. And they have a run game that the Seahawks kind of don't. Kyren Williams is playing at a really high level this year.
Kyren Williams had a fantastic game. He had a couple of moves in this one that were like 40 yards worth of difference. He deserves a lot of credit for that. I agree. I think Stafford's about as good as you can be without being physically imposing. But when you watch some guys like, I don't know, like Allen or May, it's like they can make certain plays because of, how strong they are, how fast they are, and the ways that they can move. And they're, a lot of times it's their ability to take hits when they need to.
Yeah.
You start to notice that, some dudes just don't have that in them, and it limits them in some ways. Now, Stafford's still a valid MVP candidate, so I don't want to.
Yeah, he's still top. He's still top 3, probably in the race, maybe top 5 if you want to be. But I think about this game versus the Seahawks, and I think about his game earlier versus the Eagles, where I thought he struggled a little bit, and you could point some blame towards. He hasn't quite fully passed every tough test thrown at him in a way you'd expect a typical MVP candidate to. Like, beating the Saints by a lot is great, but
I like what you said about he does, or you see guys take certain hits. I feel like Stafford used to be that guy. Stafford was that guy last year where it's like, oh my God, he takes the worst hits I've ever seen. Has he taken any like crazy hits this year? I feel like no.
I really do feel like his composure under pressure has regressed a little bit these last 2 years compared to like where he was when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And his accuracy,
they still could win the Super Bowl.
I think his accuracy under pressure has regressed since where he was. But I mean, the pass rush is legit. Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk on stunts killed him this game. The secondary, Cameron Kinchins is a good player at this point.
Yeah.
Their randomly generated white linebacker this year is a good guy. This year.
I left more impressed by like the supposedly weak back seven than I thought I would from this one for sure.
And they have
about that.
For all the dialogue about 13 personnel, and I was ready for Greg Olsen to shut the fuck up about it by the end of the first quarter. I did not want to hear the words 13 personnel ever again by the end of this first quarter. It's interesting for sure. They've done it a lot. Like, I don't want to be it, but oh my God, they were 13 personnel matching with nickel. Cool. That's cool. Why are they in 13 personnel? They have Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. Like, this is not going to be their offense, bro. Like, they're not going to be in 13 personnel that much when those two are both healthy. Like, when Nacua was missing games, sure, it's a fun wrinkle, but going into this one when both those guys were out there, I was sick of hearing about it. But they did have some fun screens. They did break it out.
It feels like sometimes the announcers will get hung up on like a singular bit throughout the game.
Olsen is guilty, man. Olsen, he's good.
Do the same thing. So it's
easy to do. It's easy to do if you feel like you've got a good insight to really want to hammer it home for sure.
No, I mean, Olsen did have a great moment where he used the word video game correctly. Sometimes you'll hear like, oh, that was video game. And it's like Saquon's reverse hurdle. That doesn't happen in Madden. It's not a video game situation.
They had to put it in the game.
Yeah, it's not a video game situation when a quarterback makes anybody miss, like, in the pocket. Like, your quarterback always gets sacked in Madden.
Oh, yeah, pocket movement's impossible. I'm not looking at that shit. I am taking the sack.
That's not video game stuff at all. I hate it when that gets called video game. Rashid Shaheed averaging 30 yards per touchdown, that is a video game number, and it was correctly used by Greg Olsen today. I appreciated that. Because I'm sick of Lamar does not do video game stuff. If you try to play like Lamar in Madden, you will take. If you play me, at least I'm just guessing QB contain. And
you know who does play like a video game? Shador Sanders.
Slow.
The rolling
and you get sacked.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Exactly. Let's quickly hit on Chargers Jaguars. The Chargers got absolutely belted in this game. Dude, they are so bad in the trenches on both sides. It's unbelievable. I mean, I felt like every single time the offensive line was like just getting eviscerated immediately. And then every time the Jags ran, I'm like, dude, they just got 4 yards. Like every single time, 4 yards, 5 yards.
Dude, the Jaguars run game cooked today. Like, if you want to go watch some really cool tape, go watch the Jaguars run game today. Tootin was great. The tight ends were just balling. Their touchdown that made it 35-6 was gap scheme power play. The connection that the guard got at the second level, both of them, was unbelievable. The down block from the tight end was unbelievable. Like, and it was like that the whole day. Just Ezra Cleveland, take a bow, I guess. Like, you looked like Quentin Nelson on steroids. They were just absolutely fantastic up front running the ball. And Tootin was just a little bowling ball. He's got such a low center of gravity. He's a problem. But just and this Chargers season just really ended when Slater got hurt and OTAs.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
it's that simple. It feels like for the Chargers to reach some sort of second level or to be something different than what they've been, they've got to be balanced. That's why they draft Alt. That's why they draft Slater. That's why they draft Hampton. That's why they bring in Greg Roman. Like, eventually it'll be kind of like the Seahawks, right? Where it's run. That's really, really good. You're in heavy personnel. That's really good. It's really consistent. I guess the Seahawks don't have a good run game, so that's maybe not the best example, but you know what I mean? Like, that's how they want to play, and then they want to play action off of that. But instead of Sam Darnold, it's Justin Herbert. But instead of it being like that, we have the highest pass rate in the league behind a terrible offensive line. And we're still, running this play action stuff, and we're leaky up front, and Trevor Penning is our bookend tackle. And it just involves Herbert getting absolutely mashed.
Do you feel like the pendulum has swung too far towards, like, we want to make our identity running the ball back this way? I mean, I feel like when we first started this podcast, it was all like as light as possible, pass as much, this is the natural progression of the game, and it always will continue to get more and more like this. It's like basketball and 3-pointers type of stuff, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then you've started to have things swing back in a major way. Like, a lot of the best teams are like, yeah, we want a 6th offensive lineman out there, actually. We actually want to have 4 tight ends, and our top receiver we're paying $30 million can go to hell. But I don't know, like, I don't think it's bad to be able to get big and beat up on teams. And, like, if you have to account for that, then building a passing game off of that is just so easy. But it does seem like there's a good number of teams right now who want to do that and focus on doing that and can't quite actually do it. And the more teams there are like that, the more I feel like, I don't know. I feel like above all, you should be playing to who your guys are rather than who you wish your guys were. But maybe that's way easier said than done.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
I think
overestimating how many teams there are that are, like, really trying to do that.
And I think the teams that have won the Super Bowl or been some of the top teams recently have played like that, like the Lions and the Eagles and the Ravens. Like, I don't think they're doing anything wrong. I don't think they'd be better off. And I think the whole league is shifted to try to stop those teams. And, it's a direct response to the 2 high shells that came from the Tyreek Hill Mahomes era. And those shells are still in vogue. So, like, yeah, you might as well put a fullback out there. You might as well get heavy. So I don't think it's necessarily wrong, but I do think the Chargers have dug themselves into this hole with their roster building of, like, we have Omarion Hampton, and we have tackles, and we have Greg Roman, and we have the highest pass rate in the league. I don't
disagree entirely, but it's tough to be like, their roster building is so stupid because all their first-round draft picks got hurt. So those were bad
maybe that's
investments.
True.
It's
like, maybe they can cook next year when they're healthy, but as far as where they're at this year, it feels like they're trying to get a seat at the table in the Lions way and in the Ravens way, but it's like, I guess Alt has been a hit and Slater has been a hit, and if they come back, fine. Herbert is,
the tackles are good, and Herbert's a beast.
Beast, so maybe it'll be.
I question
fine,
how much they've built out, like, the actual, like, the interior of the offensive line, or. Do they have a star at running back? We'll see.
And is that the way to build out a team when Herbert is your quarterback? Like,
well, the thing is that I feel like the pass catchers, like, I don't know. It's kind of they did try to go get Quentin Johnston, who at one point was balling early in the year and now has been very quiet. They invested in Ladd. He's been good, even though he's not having quite as loud of a year as he was last year. Gadsden's been a really big get for him. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And Keenan Allen's been really good for him. Although, I mean, like, I didn't view that as a major investment. I don't know where he is in targets right now. I'm sure it's incredibly high.
Yeah, I guess I could buy it if they're healthy, and maybe if they make one big trade on defense, if someone were to come available.
They're still 7-4 in spite of all of this, and they've just had like no team can survive like one unit just getting completely destroyed, and it's especially frustrating when it's like one unit that is, I mean, their tackle duo it's among the best in the NFL. It's an incredibly good one. Just to lose those guys is brutal.
It is brutal. And I'm happy the Jaguars got this win too. And it feels like if they can continue to run the ball this way and if their line can continue to be this way, because the Chargers defense with Tara Tard and Caldwell, it hasn't just been horrible against the run every single game or anything like that. This was seemed like especially good from the Jaguars. And if they can kind of limit what did my grandpa call Trevor Lawrence? He's like, it feels like Lawrence is a bit ADD. Is what he said. If he can limit Trevor Lawrence ADD moments with a strong run game, that feels good for the Jaguars. And their defense is just so bipolar. Like, is their pass rush great or is it terrible? They have one of the lowest sack rates in the league this year, but it 100% feels like Hines Allen and Armstead and Walker are capable of taking over a game. Now their corners can't tackle, and they lost the Houston game because of it. Their safety situation is atrocious, but it feels like this 4-man rush should be able to get home, and then they've got good linebackers. So it's like, I don't know. They've to begin the year, they were such a good defense, and then they fell off, and then this game they just absolutely went nuclear. This is the Jaguars. Like some weeks they look in fact, it's not even that some weeks they look great. It's like some weeks certain units look great, and then some weeks certain units look terrible. And this was a good game from the front four.
I continue to be puzzled by them trading away Tyson Campbell for Greg Newsome. Like that's just been a horrible move for them, I feel like. But anywho, let's talk about should we just get to Lions Eagles?
I mean, a little bit quarterback centric to make this talking point number one or whatever, but Jesus Christ, Goff was inaccurate today. Oh my God. And you saw a lot of issues with the pressure really getting to him. I mean, anytime you get him off his spot at all, it's like, at least today, the play is over, man. I mean, that's it. It's wraps. And I mean, I didn't think Philadelphia offensively did anything to make me feel any differently about them. You know, it is what it is. When you need a first down, you still have AJ Brown out there who can draw a pass interference that I thought was maybe leaning towards the ticky-tack side, but
definitely,
you know, it is what it is. And you can tush push and whatnot, and maybe Hurts will hold the ball for 5 seconds sometimes, and it all is what it is. But their defense is fantastic, and they did a great job bothering Goff. And between that and Goff just being inaccurate himself, even when I didn't think like the Eagles necessarily got to him, the Lions didn't have much of a chance in this game, even though it was like a 16-point game on the other side.
Frank Ragnow retired, and that matters. That's kind of been my take on their season. Pros. You can't lose all pros in the peak of their powers. He was 29 years old. He was the best center in the league outside of maybe Creed Humphrey. There's Creed and there's Linderbaum and then there's Ragnow, and that's a very fun debate on who the best is. But Ragnow definitely had a seat at that table, and he could take blocks by himself, no matter how injured he was, and the guards could go get right to the second level, or they could help out the tackles or do whatever they needed to do. It was such a luxury. Today, Jahmyr Gibbs, negative 0.52 EPA per rush attempt. Montgomery in the negatives. Stewart on the fake, whatever. That was obviously a big negative. That not really on the interior right now. Wouldn't be out there last year or anything. But it just stinks, and it makes your mentality of we're going to go for it on fourth down like all the less effective when you can't mash them.
0 for 5.
They were 0 for 5 at one point in this game, and I don't. Maybe they got one after that. So if you can't fourth down, it's pretty important to just be able to run up the middle. And when your all-pro center is gone and your guard trio is really questionable, and you have a quarterback that can't move off of his spot, this is a far more limited Lions team than we have ever seen before. Now, the screen game is still very adept. You never know what you might get. If you don't pressure Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown is probably going to catch the ball, and J-Mo can take a inbreaker to the house at any point, right? But against good teams in the playoffs, against Micah Parsons, against Jalen Carter, against a whole host of teams in the NFC, well, you're just not the same Lions that you've been in the past, and you can take out the plays if you want, Dan Campbell, but it didn't really seem to be very effective. And I'm putting Goff at third in the division here if we're power ranking the quarterbacks. I really am. Like, for him to just not be able to move off that landmark and hit a throw, it's brutal. It's brutal, and it's been like that all year. He's been worse under pressure.
I mean, it's been like
far
that
than it was last year.
Yeah. I don't know what to think of anybody. I don't understand why every team is just so awful this year. Like, was there an overarching reason for why, like, nobody feels like an 100% unit? Are we overestimating how good teams looked like in years prior? Because now, like, we already know the results and we know the champion, and then we kind of like fill in the gaps and be like, oh yeah, well, that team was perfect. Even though the Eagles last year like struggled for a lot of the season with the same stuff that they struggled with now. Maybe it's that. Is there something about like some progression and the thinking of front offices affecting this, or is it just like random chance or some mix of both? I have no idea. The question that I wanted to ask earlier in the episode, that I didn't get to, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
So I had it as Rams, Ravens to begin the year. And I kind of turned my back on the Rams because I thought the Seahawks were playing better. So I'm sorry, Rams Nation. But at this point, I'm just going to fucking fall back on that, honestly, and just still say Rams, Ravens. And I don't think the Ravens will win, though. Like, at this point, I'm sick. Like, I don't know.
It's an impossible question right now. It's impossible to answer. There's so many teams where it's like, well, can this quarterback not fumble the ball like 3 times in a game and blow it? But the issue is that if you get to the divisional round and the division or the conference is left with like 3 guys like that, then it's like, okay, well, somebody has to win those games regardless. Someone's got to make it.
Maybe I'm feeling the Eagles, dude, because they're the 1 seed in the NFC currently, so they're looking at the bye. Who's looking at the bye in the AFC?
Huge.
It's the Broncos.
Huge this year.
It's looking at like the Broncos in the AFC. That's who currently owns it.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Eagles are just a better version of the Broncos, where I think I trust Hurts a little bit more. At this point, it's about the same though. But they got a better running back. They got better receivers. They got probably a better line. I don't know if their defense is better, but since Jalen Phillips joined the squad, it feels like it's getting back to last year's caliber.
It's nice.
So, I mean, against zone coverage, like, it's just been brutal this year, but like that's kind of the same story last year. And Lane Johnson's been in and out of the lineup all season, which makes me a little bit nervous. But like, the Eagles are the betting favorite, but maybe. I don't know. So maybe
I had Eagles Ravens preseason, and
that's what I had as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm leaning further away from the Ravens just because like
their pass rushing, their trenches, dude. Their trenches are bad.
It's like the Chargers, right? They can't rush the passer at all. They have to blitz, and not only that, they have to take their best player out of coverage to blitz, in order to get pressure on quarterbacks. And then also, it feels like they don't really have the best answer for when things, like, they don't have a great answer for an elite pass rusher either. Like, Garrett totally wrecked this game. And part of that is just Garrett's, like, a freak. But also, when things go wrong like that, it's just, Lamar, do something. Please save us. And if he doesn't, like, there's... Like, they kind of have Zay Flowers, but it's always Lamar has to find Zay Flowers, like, sort of in scramble drill. Same with Mark Andrews, same with Isaiah Likely. That's really all it is. And I don't know if that's going to be the best solution even if they make the playoffs at this rate. Same with Kansas City, right? So
yeah, I might actually. I know I just gave the case for the Eagles. I am going to stick with Rams out of the NFC and say I trust Stafford more than Hurts, and this receiver duo is just more. It's impacting the game more than what the Eagles are doing, and the defense the pass rush. I'm going to stick with that, and I'll say the Rams proved that they're but they're not the 1 seed, and they've already lost to the Eagles. So I don't know, but
Yeah. I don't know.
They should have beat the Eagles.
I agree with that premise. It's hard to sit here and be like, because the thing about the Eagles that make them different from the Broncos is that you've seen them do it before.
Right.
You've seen Hurts play
they
better.
weren't first round exits last year. In fact, they were the opposite. They were
In fact, they
didn't exit. They never exited.
But like, yeah, you got to ignore that pesky game that the Eagles and the Rams played, and pick the right. Like, I guess I'm feeling Rams a little bit. I feel like they're starting to become the most complete team. They can run. They've got the quarterback who I don't think is like prone to being a bozo. They've got the receivers that make them like a tough matchup. They've got a great defensive line, great pass rush. And the rest of the defense is, I think, looking to be good enough to make it all work. But they did lose to the Eagles, albeit, one game, like a lot.
2 blocked punts.
I was about to say,
field goals, that is. 2 blocked field goals, that is.
We could say the same thing about, like, even today's Seattle game, right? I mean, like, of course, they played. I'm not to take anything away from the Rams. Like, they played great and they forced these interceptions or whatnot. But, I mean, you play that game 10 times back. Seattle's never going to kick 4 field goals and throw 4 interceptions like that, and then lose on a field goal anyway. It was really about as close as a game could get, even though I do think the Rams played well. So
yeah. Well, the Rams have lost 2 one-score games to the Eagles. They lost in the playoffs last year.
That's true.
Yeah.
I believe the game they lost before that to them was also like a brutal one in the regular season, if I'm not mistaken.
Man, it's going to be interesting. We could see a Rams-Patriots rematch from 2018, which is different.
It's going to be
completely
awesome,
different
dude.
cast.
I'm looking forward to this because you're going to go in with it's hard to track, but you're going to go into the playoffs thinking like the most teams could actually win the Super Bowl of this group in a long time. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. 100%.
Like there's years where sometimes you're like, there's like 4 teams that could win it. Like if that, sometimes you're like, it's going to come down to like, this is
a couple of years ago, I think I got every playoff game right except for the Super Bowl. I had Chiefs Eagles and I thought the Eagles would win and the Chiefs did. But like this year, if I get every playoff game right, like that would be shocking.
Insane.
Like I would
it's like March Madness this year. It feels like.
Yeah. I would be pretty shocked.
I'm
I don't know.
Like, okay, if Daniel Jones can manage to go 3 or 4 straight games without just looking like a complete bozo. I mean, they have the best offense in football.
I think the Hurts are a perfectly fair pick.
That's what they got. Sauce now. Their defensive line is ridiculous. The pass rush is really starting to come together.
Yeah,
but I am still leaning Eagles right now. So
yeah, I see it. There's one more game I want to talk about. Did you guys watch Bears Vikings?
I did not, but I was seeing from the tweets I was seeing about JJ McCarthy. I have to assume I won't like what I watch on the All 22 on Monday.
That's the comparison that I wanted to make to Shedeur Sanders was JJ McCarthy's debut.
Well, it wasn't his debut today.
No, I'm saying Shedeur Sanders' debut looked like JJ McCarthy's debut.
Except instead of the fourth quarter comeback, he came in just the fourth quarter and didn't come back. I think it was,
but no, yeah.
JJ was really, really bad today to the point where like Viking fans were calling him like worse than Ponder. Like worse, this is the worst Vikings.
You do not see fan bases talk about young quarterbacks who are picked in the first round like that. Truly and honestly, I cannot remember the last time that it was this bad this early. I mean, this is game number 4 for him?
5. There's the Bears game, and then there's the Falcons game, and then then he got hurt, and then it was this game, and then the Lions game, which he won. Okay. Yeah, 5.
Okay. I mean, like,
2 of those are wins, dude.
Yeah, and I'm seeing, and like you could even be like, well, we still won a couple, or like, well, this one's still close, and
they should have won this one if they didn't allow a big kick return.
So what happened, I guess, is my question.
I mean, I think JJ just missed just about every throw. He threw 2 picks. His EPA was negative 0.67 per attempt. So
we've
0.67.
said this a lot on the podcast, and we almost never react to it, and people get so upset that we.
0.67.
Like, Matt, you had an episode where you said it 3 times.
You did say it 3 times. His total EPA was actually less than Shedeur Sanders, or it was more than Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur lost more in like a quarter than JJ did the whole game. But at any rate, JJ was he's just inaccurate, basically. And well, then why is he inaccurate? You start to unravel that question. It's like, well, he just doesn't know what he's doing. I feel like every single time a wide receiver turned their head around to like get ready for the ball, it hadn't left JJ's hand yet, even if he was throwing to the first read. Okay, so now he's really late because the ball should be halfway there by that point, and he hasn't even separated his hands yet. So he's late. He presses. He doesn't want to throw a pick, so he just puts it out of the field to play entirely, and they're just egregious overthrows over and over and over and over and over and over again. And basically that's what was happening. It just didn't feel like he had any sort of sense of anticipation. It didn't feel like there was any timing at all. And that let the pass rush impact him more, and it let the coverage get tighter if it was zone. And yeah, it just felt like he was super tight the entire game. And it felt like he just didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know what the offense wanted from it. It didn't feel like there's so much trust, right? Like Purdy talks about it, especially as a shorter quarterback. Like he's like, I can't see half the time. So it's all trust, and it's all, you're going to be at this point at this time, and I'm just throwing to a spot and hoping that you're there. And with McCarthy, it just felt like, okay, he just has no idea where that spot is. It feels like he needs to see somebody open to throw it. And it's untenable. It's untenable against one of the worst defenses in the league without Jalen Johnson. And you have Justin Jefferson and you have Jordan Addison. Jackson Dart just torched him last week before he got hurt because guys were so wide open down the field. And in this game, it felt like the same thing, but JJ can't hit any of them. And here is a stat for you. I think they've had 16 attempts when it's 3rd and 3 or less, because that's the Vikings' identity this year is, okay, we have a young quarterback. We're going to get into under center looks. We're going to run the ball more. All right, we're going to make it more manageable. They had one of the highest pass rates in the league last year. That's not the case this time around. Sure. Okay, we get it to 3rd and manageable. He's, I think, 0 for 16 passing the ball on 3rd and 3 or less. 0 for 16 so far this season. So he just can't, this is worst case scenario, right? Where you would think that if the run game is halfway decent, the receivers are good enough to the point where JJ could keep things on the rails, because KOC can take bad quarterbacks or project quarterbacks and keep them on the rail. Or you can make Kirk Cousins have MVP type numbers, so JJ McCarthy can be average numbers. Well, he is so bad that that's not true. And even when the situation is favorable, he's missing throws. So he's not good at avoiding contact. He's not very good at breaking tackles. I don't think he's very fast. I don't think he's, a real rush threat. It's got to be pure progression stuff for him to be good. And that's so far away from being good. And even on toss plays or handoffs, it feels like he's prone to making a mistake there, or getting his feet tangled up or something. So just from the studs, it hasn't risen beyond the studs. Like it just is. It's just terrible. I mean, he's a terrible quarterback. If you were to draft every quarterback in the league right now, I mean, some backups would probably go before JJ McCarthy. And Viking fans obviously see that because they're not really happy with him right now.
So funny. We were talking about this at the beginning of the season. What worst case scenario? And we're in it.
We are in it. And then there's Caleb.
How was Caleb?
He can't get sacked. Like he broke every single tackle basically the entire day. And he got hit in the back. They blitzed him at a 74% rate, the highest of the season for Flores. and it swallowed up a lot of the run game for sure. And it got Caleb under a lot of pressure, but he just broke every tackle, man. Like his accuracy wasn't quite dialed, but like he was able to do more than McCarthy, a lot more than McCarthy, just through the alien trait of like, defensive linemen are way bigger than him, but just cannot seem to bring him down at all, which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing to be able to do. I think some don't like it, but yeah. I think he's way on the right track. DJ Moore had some drops today that were pretty egregious. Caleb had some really nice throws over the middle away from leverage, like in the hook zones that I thought were nice. The accuracy, not really acceptable over the course of the whole game for sure, but it's tough not to watch him over these past couple of weeks and say, well, he's not carrying them to the division lead. Lead. They're number one in the NFC North right now.
In the NFC.
They are the number one seed in the NFC North right now. And it's not because of the defense. It's not because of the receivers having reliable hands. It's not because of Kyle Monungai. Shout out Kyle Monungai. It's because of pretty much Colston Loveland and Caleb Williams and to some extent Darnell Wright, although this was a substantially rougher game for him than it was the last 2 weeks. So
what are the Bears' odds to win the Super Bowl?
I guess probably still pretty long, right?
They are at plus 5,000, which is the same as the Texans. It's between the Texans and the Buccaneers. The 49ers, Chargers, Patriots, Packers, Broncos, Ravens, Seahawks, Lions, Chiefs, Colts, Bills, Rams, and Eagles are all ahead of them.
The 49ers are above them. That's interesting.
I mean, they cooked today with Purdy, but I think their defense is still going to limit them from winning much. But
cannot miss Bosa and Warder.
Yeah, absolutely. But the Bears' defense is just as bad. Feels like, well, Jalen Johnson is coming back, so maybe the Bears are about to get a lot better on defense. So,
and
maybe that's bad.
The Niners will get Warner and Bosa back by the Super Bowl.
They will get them back by a Super Bowl.
They will get them back before. Yes, eventually. But I think that'll do it for this episode of Stay Hot. It is currently 1:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to go to bed
Seems
here.
Like a good time.
Thank you all for tuning in to another episode here. We'll be back. There's some more stuff on the Patreon. Theo and I did a Kyler episode. And then I believe you guys put out an NBA one too.
Yep.
Yes, we did. It was a very good episode.
It was a very good episode.
So if you're not subscribed to the Patreon, make sure you are. And until next time, as always, we will catch you on the Flippity Flop.